Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated, Ms. Garcia. And Mr. Holloway, I'll turn to you. And just so it's clear to the jury, you know we've taken witnesses out of order, including Dr. Bader and several other witnesses yesterday. We're now back to Mr. Holloway's case. This is his witness. So go right ahead, Mr. Holloway.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mom.
Good morning.
So today's a little different. We already heard your testimony earlier in the trial, and this time I want you to keep it real. I want to be able to give the jurors an opportunity to understand exactly who I am so they can make a decision on whether I was criminally responsible at the time of the crime. They need to decide if I was insane or not. So today I want to ask you.
Before you do that, I'm just going to make it clear on the record that Patricia Garcia has resumed the stand for this phase of the trial, and she's been placed under oath. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. So can you state your name one more time for the jury?
Patricia Garcia,
And who are you to me?
your mother.
My real mother, correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. And you gave birth to me on August 6, 1982?
yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to ask you, how things were raising me in your own perspective. What was your struggles raising me?
Well, I was a single mom at the time because I was divorced from his father. And Dale was a little hard-headed. And so there was a program that was for boys without dads or something like that. I don't remember the name of it. And I signed him up for it. And it really wasn't what it said it was. But you know, it's difficult raising kids by yourself, but we survived. But Dale, you know, had some problems, difficulties in the community.
Okay, is there anything else between the teenage lives, the teenage section of my life that was rather not normal for a kid to experience, or anything that would be significant to determine whether I may or may have not, you know, well, I may have suffered from too much to continue without intervention or therapy and, you know, stuff like that?
Well, there were different things that happened. Your father fought for custody so he wouldn't have to pay child support, and he got partial custody and I got partial custody. Then he abused you, you came back, and your best friend was killed in the ward of the state. And then you were attacked on the train coming from the movies. You know. You saw your father hit me, and, you know, that was part of why we divorced, but, you know, just being out. Then you got stabbed, some kid, you know, so it's just those types of things that could have, you know, led to the trauma that you was exposed to.
Okay, thank you. And were there times where I wasn't in the house, and were there things that you didn't actually know about my life?
Yes, probably.
And around what part of my life was I removed from the house?
Early on,
Early on, what do you mean by early?
early age, like 10, 11.
Okay. And when I was removed around that time, where did I go?
I can't remember all the way back then, but
Well, not exactly where, but,
just where they take little boys that are being disruptive.
okay. So it's fair to say I was put into some type of youth services?
Yes,
Okay. And do you recall how many times I was put into those youth services?
no, I don't remember.
Was it too many to count on your hands?
I don't remember,
Okay.
but it was more than enough.
How many holidays did I miss? How many
Many.
Thanksgivings?
Many,
Okay. How many Christmases
Many.
did I miss? How many birthdays did I miss?
many,
How many New Years did I miss?
many.
So I missed a lot of holidays and a lot of family events.
Hmm.
How many times do you think you visited me at these youth services or centers or facilities?
Not many.
I mean, and why haven't you visited me?
It's just not places where I would prefer to go to.
Okay, so you don't
Yeah,
particularly want to.
I feel like you don't listen.
Okay. Right. And did I call you from some of these places?
Oh, yeah.
Did I always try my hardest to, make contact with
Oh,
you?
yeah.
And during those calls and during those times, did we still have a loving relationship? And so sometimes I'd often cry and tell you how much I wanted to be home again. Okay, thank you. And did I get a chance to talk to Minister Garcia during those times?
Yeah,
And was the same conversation loving and caring as well?
yes.
Okay. And I want to bring your attention to a period of time where I was removed from the house and you had to clean my room. What, if anything, were on the walls? Or how was the condition of my room when I was away from the house?
You mean like pictures on the walls?
Well, anything that you may have cleaned up from the room, how was the condition? I just want to, I want you to explain how unkept I may have been or unhealthy in any way. Can you explain any way how I was unhealthy or unkept or uncoordinated?
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, so let me give you a better question. Was my room always clean?
No,
Okay. How messy was my room sometimes?
very.
Okay, and were there things on the walls,
Yeah, posters,
posters
pictures, wrappers. I don't remember what else.
Okay, and did you ever find any drug paraphernalia?
Marijuana sometimes.
And did you ever find any guns in my home?
No,
Any gun paraphernalia?
No.
Ammunition?
no.
And how was I in school that you can recall?
Pretty smart.
Smart. Was I in special ed classes?
No,
Do you all remember me being in Chin's programs or?
yeah, that was the name of the program, but that
Okay.
wasn't special ed.
Okay, how about special schools for disruptive boys? Did I have a tutor?
Sometimes.
Okay. And did you ever hear from me that I was too afraid to go to school because it was dangerous?
Yes.
And around what age was that?
No, I don't know. I don't remember.
So, I just want to ask you a few other questions. You said I was smart. Did I ever collect any animals in the house? Snakes?
No,
Was I allowed to have a dog in the house?
no.
Do you remember when I brought a dog home?
Yeah.
Can you tell the jurors what happened when I brought that dog home?
Well, the cats didn't like it, and we just heard a lot of growling and hissing, and we told you to take the dog back to who gave it to you. And you slept outside with the dog and we couldn't find you.
Okay. And pretty much why I slept outside with the dog is because I was angry that you wouldn't allow me to have it, right?
Yeah, it was a pit bull.
Okay, thank you. And how was your wedding? Was your wedding with Minister Garcia a happy wedding?
Yes,
Okay, did we have fun?
yes.
And we had pictures, Jerry seen pictures of the wedding day. And I just want to pretty much get a full understanding of the happiness that we had. And now, up to this date of the incident in question, October 1st, let's start there. Between October 1st and October 12th, can you describe to the jurors your observation of me?
He was very leery of whoever was coming to the house. You was standing there like you were the guarding the house. Not eating, not sleeping, just standing around watching the house and what, what's going on and the different people that were coming in.
And do you recall, if anything, regarding blocking windows?
Yeah, that,
And
all
can
of
you
that.
describe that?
Yeah, making sure all the windows were locked, the blinds were down and all that. Yeah.
And what if anything was I worried about? What was I so worried about?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Did I ever express my feelings on what I was worried about?
Yeah, that, somebody was gonna come there and shoot, because you didn't know why it happened, or, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. So let's go to the date in question, October 12th. How do you think what would you testify that my mental state was that day? Including the day before? Up to-
It just increased. You're being afraid to let anybody in, let anybody out, and it just increased. And then that day, I didn't see you when you left, but I saw you when I got up, and James told me that.
Objection,
Oh,
hearsay.
Okay,
Yes, that is hearsay, so that's
Okay.
sustained.
I understand.
Well,
James told me.
yeah, James told me.
Yeah, you can't go
Okay.
into what he told you.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what I saw was that very withdrawn and just not himself.
Okay, so I was not myself that day.
No,
And was I myself at all between the
No.
1st and the 12th?
no,
So you've never really seen that side of me between the 1st and the 12th, correct?
not at that severity.
Okay, so I was at an extreme
Yes,
of myself at
Yeah.
that point, okay? So, my question is, do you think that I snapped somehow?
Objection, she doesn't have any qualifications to make such a finding. Object on that basis.
Yeah, that's not asking for factual observations or your demeanor or what she was seeing in terms of you like she's testified. That's asking for an opinion, which she's not qualified to give on the issue of insanity.
I'll rephrase the question, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you.
That objection is sustained.
Do you think that my brain had a malfunction at that time?
Objection.
Sustained.
Thank you.
Same thing, same
Yes.
thing, sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry, just sustained.
Trying to rephrase it into a better way
Take your
of
time.
wording it. Ms. Garcia, do you think that I I was experiencing some type of pressure that I couldn't handle.
What I saw was that you weren't yourself and you weren't capable of saying, I could say to myself, well, something's wrong with him. So,
So you did think something was wrong with
oh
you
yeah,
at that time.
oh yeah.
Why didn't I go with you to the church?
I don't know.
Did we have an argument?
No,
Was it some type of communication that
No.
we didn't agree on?
no, because everybody was going to leave at the same time.
Okay. So there was no particular reason why we didn't travel together?
No.
Okay. My last question, Mom.
Okay.
Did I ever put my hands on you?
No,
Did I ever threaten you?
no,
Did I ever try to harm anybody in our household?
no.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mrs. Garcia.
Good morning.
Several days ago, you testified in the guilt phase of this trial.
Mhm.
Remember that testimony?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
Relevance to the sanity phase. The guilt phase was the guilt phase, the sanity phase, the sanity phase.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question is. He just introduced his question, and she has testified in the guilt phase. I need to know what the question is, and if you feel there's still an objection to it, you may stand up and object.
Thank you.
I just don't know what the question is yet. Go right ahead, Attorney Hardy.
Thank you, Your Honor. During that testimony, did you testify to feeling in shock after the death, the homicide of Luis Garcia, your husband?
Of course.
In fact, did you tell us about how you were in your room because of that shock?
I was in and out of my room. Hmm.
And that period of shock continued from October 1st all the way through to October 12th. Isn't that true?
Even now.
Even now, of course, right? And during the days leading up to October 12th, you had people stay over at your residence
Yes.
on Lake Avenue, is that right?
Yes.
How many people were there?
Oh, I don't know. There was a whole bunch of people.
I'm sorry?
A bunch of people.
20, 30 people
At times.
at times? How many stayed over on the evening of October 11th?
Oh, maybe 20, 30, maybe 35.
Because the plan, if I understand correctly, was for all of you to travel over
Yes.
together the following day, October 12th,
Yes.
to go to New England Pentecostal.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia, can I just help you
Yes.
out here a little? When he's asking you the question, let him ask you
Oh,
the whole
okay.
question and then answer. You're just doing what we normally do in conversation. You're
Okay.
talking to him as he's talking, and it's just hard
Oh,
to get it
okay.
down on the record. So, thank you very much.
Hmm. No problem.
Thank you, thank you. So with respect to, well, let me back up a bit. When did people start coming to your residence, more than who was living at your residence? When did they start coming in preparation for memorial service on October 12th?
October 1st.
So people started coming over at that time?
Yes.
Roughly at that time, how many people would come over on October 1st?
I don't know. It's a lot of people.
Was that when the Castiglione family came over, the
Yes.
Pastanas came over,
Yes.
and they all came over to console you?
Yes.
Bishop Choate came over?
Yes.
And there were many other people that came
Yes.
over. And again, to be fair, you were, of course, in shock during this period of time.
Yes.
And so your attention is, of course, is it fair to say, drawn to different people during this period of time as they're coming over to console you, isn't that right?
Can you ask me that again?
Sure. As people are coming to speak with you, your attention is focused on them, isn't that right?
Not necessarily.
So right now, as I'm talking to you, Is it fair to say your
Yes.
attention is focused on me?
Yes,
And so when people went to you on October 1st and October 2nd and October 3rd, and they went there to console you, your focus was on that particular person who was talking to you at that particular time. Is that right?
them and what he was doing.
And there were other people coming in as well at that point.
Yes,
Before October 1st, 2019, who was living at your residence?
myself, my husband, and Dale, and Greg.
And Greg?
Greg.
And Greg is who again?
He lives in the house. It's a veteran I take care of.
You spoke with an investigator who was working for an attorney. I think the interview happened on December 12th of 2019. Do you remember that interview?
Yes,
And during that interview, you said to the investigator that despite his PTSD and some issues with women in his life that resulted in criminal charges, Dale was doing well. Isn't that right?
yes,
And you said Dale's whole family was caught off guard when the church shooting allegations happened because Dale had been doing so well.
yes,
You said that as well. The investigator asked you if you were aware of any guns that Dale may have owned, and you said, as far as you knew, Dale did not own any guns, and you and your family were still trying to figure out where he got the gun in the first place.
right,
Isn't that right?
yes,
And the investigator asked you if you or your family noticed any signs from Dale leading up to the alleged shooting at the church, and you said no. Isn't that right?
Can you ask me that question again?
Excuse me?
Ask me that question again?
Sure. And if you need to look at the report, please let me know and I'll be happy to
Okay.
give this report to you. The question that the investigator asked you was, and I'm going to read it right from the report.
Okay.
I asked Pat if she or her family noticed any signs from Dale leading up to the alleged shooting at the church. You remember that question?
Signs of,
I'm just reading the,
yeah, I know, but signs of what?
I'm just reading the question. Do you remember that question the investigator asked you?
Not off the top of my head, but I don't know what signs you're talking about.
Okay. Would it help refresh your memory
Sure.
if we gave you a copy of this report?
Well, if that's all it says, signs, I wouldn't know what signs you mean.
Okay. I'm going to just mark with my pen the line that I'd like you to read to yourself.
Bob, you can go get that so you can present it to Ms. Garcia. And just so we're clear, you're just reading this to yourself.
Oh, okay.
Can you show it to Mr. Hodges? So, Ms. Garcia, I've, in pen bracketed, I think it's the last 5 lines at the bottom of the report. If you could just read those to yourself silently. Did you get a chance to read the report?
I did.
Does that refresh your memory about that question that the investigator asked you and your answer to that question?
Okay, so you're asking me about a time that I just lost my husband. I have no idea what was said other than what you're showing me on that paper. I can't recall unless I read it from there, but the question that you're showing me is if he showed signs up until the point where my husband was murdered. he showed no signs of anything that was out of normal. He was working, going to work, and
Okay, and we'll get into the work
Okay.
shortly, but with respect to that question of whether or not Dale had shown, or if you had noticed any signs from Dale,
Your Honor, objection.
you're,
Badgering the witness.
I don't feel
She's
that
already answered the question, why is he asking again?
he's free to pursue the line of questioning based on the answer. I don't think he's in any way badgering.
She's already answered the question, Your Honor.
I don't think she's answered the question in full at this point, and I think it's trying to be clarified. So that objection is overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. So with respect to that particular question from the investigator as to whether or not you or your family had noticed any signs from Dale leading up to the alleged shooting at the church, what was your answer?
signs of him going to shoot somebody? No.
In fact, you went on to say Dale voiced his dislike for Mark
Yes.
and how he thought he was involved and claimed he found articles online showing Mark and his family were dangerous people. Isn't that right?
That's true.
Then you went on to say Dale never said he was going to do anything, though, and simply did not want them around his family. Isn't that what you said?
He said that a few times.
Now, you mentioned work a moment ago. Were you familiar with Mr. Holloway's employment during the year of 2019?
Yes.
Do you know that he was working for Fisher Cats?
Yes.
Do you know that he was working for, at some point, he was working for Tuckaway Tavern?
Yes.
He was also working for, I believe, Moe's Sub Shop.
I don't know about that one.
And you're also familiar with your son's involvement as a performer, isn't that right?
Yes.
And he did that, he did performing for a significant period of time, isn't that
Yes.
right? And he would travel to different locations and perform at different locations, isn't that right?
Yes.
In fact, he was managing his own affairs with respect to his business, isn't that right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any redirect at all?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, let's stay right there where you were interviewed by that defense investigator, Mr. Fryler. Do you remember Will Fryler investigating?
I don't remember his
Asked you
name.
some questions. He asked you for the family photos. And
Oh, I remember him asking me for photos, but I
around
don't
that time,
remember him.
You remember that time?
Yes.
Okay. During that time, that person took some notes from what you told him. Let's go through those notes. If you would like a copy, I'll show you your notes. That way you can tell me if you said these things or not. Would you like a copy?
No.
Okay. During that interview, Mr. Fryler made some notes. You told him that from prison, I have always been on guard, showing signs of PTSD, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That I was always different, correct?
Different.
Okay. You also expressed to him that I was always in the wrong place at the wrong time, correct?
Yes.
And that I would act out, correct?
Yes.
You shared with him that you tried to get a Big Brother program for me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you have an older son, correct?
Yes.
And was that older son in the home?
Yeah.
Did he live with us
No.
during the time?
Yeah, during that time.
During this time, he didn't live with us,
No.
correct? Okay. But he did live with us at one point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned that you didn't notice any mental health, no hallucinations. You didn't notice anything, no attributes, anything odd to a different way of my thinking, correct? That's what you told Mr. Fryler? That you didn't really notice anything? You didn't notice any hallucinations?
During
Of me-
what period of time?
That period of time, leading up to the incident?
Right, no,
Did you notice any hallucinations before that period?
no,
So, in our past, in the overall life, did I ever have emotional breakdowns and outbursts?
yes,
Okay. And some of those outbursts were regarding strict rules from you?
well, yeah, one of the things that I recall was we had an argument because you wanted to wear one of those big puffy winter coats in the summer. And I was trying to explain to you that you didn't need to wear that, nobody's going to attack you. But, so we got into an argument about that. And then eventually you took it off.
Okay, but what was my complaints about wearing that, about why would I want to wear that coat?
For fear that somebody was going to attack you again.
And prior to that argument, I was attacked, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so that was a fear of being attacked again, correct?
yes.
And that's a sign of PTSD, correct?
Objection, she's not qualified.
Sustained.
That's fine. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's go through the family. Is Uncle Ronnie crazy?
No.
Objection, this goes beyond the scope of.
Yeah, this is well beyond, you can only ask questions about what was asked on
I'm
cross-examination.
asking her opinion on my family history.
Yeah, your family history was not in any way brought up on cross-examination. So on redirect, you're limited to what were the topics that were gone over on cross-examination.
I
You
understand.
can't open it up again.
I understand, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mom, let's go back to this interview because I'm going to stay on that. There was a lot in that. You told Mr. Fryler that James asked if you had seen my eyes.
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, there's no hearsay. This is the interview, the same interview that he has read to the witness from what she has told Mr. Fryler. This is her statement.
Again, that particular examination was limited to certain reports that she had made that went over the time period here and what she was observing and what she remembered. And it's the report of 12/12/19, and specifically that you were doing well, that she was caught off guard by the church shooting, that you didn't own any guns. We went over the whole segment on the signs you were showing and what she had to say about your views of Mr. Castiglione. And then he went off of that and went to your employment. So you can go over that part of
That's fine,
the
Your Honor.
particular report because it was raised on cross-examination.
Okay, that's
None of
fine.
the rest was. Go right ahead.
Up until that date, when we were supposed to travel to the church for the funeral service, did anyone ask you if I looked crazy?
Objection, same objection, it's beyond the scope. Cross, it's also going to be hearsay.
Go
Your
right
Honor,
ahead. Yeah.
the whole question, the whole redirect question and the whole direct question was the traveling to the church that day at that time. That's the exact period that her testimony from the beginning.
In terms of this particular question, it does go to the line of questioning as to whether you were exhibiting any signs that she was concerned with. So you can ask the question because I think it goes directly to that. It's appropriate a redirect examination based on the cross-examination. So that objection is overruled.
Thank you. Mom, at the time that we were planning to go to the church, did anyone ask you if I was crazy? I mean, did anyone ask you if I looked crazy? to you?
I told everyone to keep their eye on you because I felt you were unstable. So as far as if they said you were crazy or whatever, they didn't say that. But if they thought you were looking different, and from when I said keep your eye on them, that's about all they said to me.
Okay, if I showed you these notes, would you be able to recall the conversation that you had with Mr. Fryland?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Bob, you may show those. I'm gonna have Bob have you look at these notes. Just to yourself again.
I'm gonna make a bracket for that section. That's the front page. Yes. Thank you.
All right, you can read this to yourself. It's bracketed,
Yes.
just the bracketed portion.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Hall.
Okay, thank you, Mom. Does that refresh your memory of the conversation we had with Mr. Fryland about
Yes.
someone mentioning
Well,
something to you?
Yeah.
So did someone mention to you that I looked crazy?
Objection, hearsay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's just
overrule
a-
the objection. I think the door was opened as it relates to signs. I'll just instruct the jurors that in terms of the actual statements that were made to her, you're not to consider those for the truth of the matter. This is only being offered on the issue of whether she noticed, observed any specific signs regarding Mr. Holloway. That's what it's for, not for the truth of what's asserted in the actual statement. Go right ahead.
So, sorry, so Mom, did someone ask you, or did someone tell you that I looked crazy
Yes.
at that time?
Yes.
And who was that?
James,
And who was James?
my other son,
Okay. And how long has James known me?
since you were a baby,
Okay, that's my older brother, right?
older brother.
So it's fair to say that his observations were the same as what you described today, correct?
Yeah, because I told him to watch you.
Okay, thank you. Regarding my employment, did I help you around the house?
Sure.
Did I always help you around the house?
Most of the time.
What happens when you ask me to do the dishes?
You do the dishes.
Did I always do the dishes?
Not right away, but yeah.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where I didn't do the dishes?
That you didn't have to, or that you didn't do it because I said so.
Let me ask you if you recall the home that we stayed in Brockton, 35 Cabot Street.
Okay.
Do you recall that time when you asked me to do the dishes?
No.
You said no, okay, fine. So, I just want to really get to the understanding of your observation of me in my life. And today you're testifying that you actually believe that I have issues, correct?
Well, I researched what I thought was the issues of related to any trauma somebody could have. And I found that, yes, you did.
Objection, she's not qualified to make it.
That's sustained. She's not qualified to
That's
issue
fine,
an opinion on that.
That's fine, John. Mom, earlier in this phase, a doctor, Dr. Mark, who is an expert, testified that young black males with ADHD were less likely to get diagnosis and treatment. and underdiagnosed and undertreated young black males with ADHD get left behind. Do you think that's accurate?
Objection, she's not qualified.
That's sustained, and she's also commenting on testimony of another witness and expert, which is not allowed.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
My question is it possible that I suffered from other mental illnesses as a kid?
Objection, same basis.
Sustained. She doesn't have the expertise.
Your Honor, I have no further questions. This is my mother. I love you, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you. Any recross at all?
Yes, Your Honor, just a few.
Sure, go right ahead.
Ma'am, do I understand that your employment as a graphic designer?
That's what I went to school for.
Okay. That's the training that you have
Yes.
as a graphic designer? And you don't have any mental health training?
Surgical technician.
But no mental health
No.
clinical training?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Also,
Thank you. You are excused,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Garcia. You're welcome.
Your Honor, the witness is allowed to stay in the courtroom for the remainder of the day.
Yeah, she is excused. She's allowed to stay in the courtroom. She's not subject to recall for any reason at this point.
Thank you.
Any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the defense rests